I still tear up today when we have one of our team members like have a family that was living squeezed in a room and now bought their first mobile home, and they have tears of joy and happiness because they had several real estate agents tell them that they would never be able to own. And that feeling is just what drives me to want to do more and more and scale this.
Hey, welcome back everyone to another episode of Eat, Sleep, and Invest. I'm your host, Brian Driscoll, and I'm here with Franco Perez. What's going on, Franco?
What's up, Brian? Excited to be here, man.
So, Franco, why don't you give everybody a little background? Number one, how you got into the space and what all you do.
Long story short, came immigrant family from the Philippines, got in a weird housing situation in a poor family that divorced in the Bay Area in the Silicon Valley, which was kind of one of the most expensive areas to be. Grew up with a single mom and younger sister. Struggled trying to just keep up with paying rented every month. And I really hated the world and how real estate was. And after that, I somehow became a real estate agent, did really well at that. And then I hated being a real estate agent because I felt like I was just in a world helping the richest people I could help get the most expensive homes they can get. And I had to turn away people that were going through the pains that I went through, that were in the shoes and the position that I was in back then where nobody was helping me. So I left being an agent and tried to find something that would help people of low income or people of middle class that can't yet afford real estate. How do we help them get out of the rental rat race and into ownership? And accidentally stumbled across mobile homes and what I thought mobile homes were. I thought they were trailer trash. I thought it was for bad people, criminals, that type of thing. Come to find out, this place is a perfect stepping stone for families to start their wealth building journey. It's a perfect place where these communities actually look beautiful. So I built a business around how people understand this financially, how they use it as a financial stepping stone. And then also now we're doing a conversion of a lot of these old mobile home like trailers and converting them to large, luxurious 1,800 square foot mobile homes that just look nicer than a lot of $1 million homes in our area today. And that's kind of where we're at.
That's interesting because I think you're right too. A lot of people, especially, I think it's market specific. Like here in Pittsburgh, I always think of mobile homes like you're right, like a dilapidated, cheap place to live. I think maybe Texas and Florida, it's a little different down there, you know? But it's interesting that you got involved with that too, because a lot of people don't know really much about mobile homes. Like, how does it work? Are you buying them? Do you rent them? Like, do you own a land? You know what I mean?
Yeah. So what's fascinating is that back in the 70s, these were really the fastest way that they were able to build housing in cities that were growing. So they really are like mobile and like trailer-like. They're built in a fast fashion, kind of like RVs, but the infrastructure itself is still there. And they're in these prime areas like the Silicon Valley. In the Silicon Valley, there's about 60 mobile home parks. Each park has at least 150 units in them. And they were all still built in the 70s. Now, that being said, the way the structure is that there is a landowner of the mobile home park itself. And then there's the homeowner above that owns the mobile home above the land. So I kind of describe it as like a high HOA. So if you imagine the scope of the world in our area, if a family of four wanted to rent a 2-bedroom apartment, they would spend about $3,500 a month. If they wanted to buy a single family home in that same area, it would be about $1.5 million. How does someone ever dream of one day purchasing a single family home if it's such a big barrier of entry? If I wanted to put 10% down, that's $150,000, and my monthly payment would be about $7,500 a month, right? It's a very huge leap. Now, how I explain mobile homes as a stepping stone, it's a perfect hybrid in between. It has ownership models and it still has some rental models, but it allows for a family to be able to get a better cash flow than they are in a full rental model. Because in a full rental model, they're completely, at the end of living there 5 years, they get nothing back, right? And we all know that. So if a family shifted from renting to a mobile home in our area, price point is about $350,000. Space rent is about $1,000. So if someone wanted to buy something, 10% of that is $35,000, and their mortgage would look like about $2,700 with the space rent. their total payment, sorry if I'm getting complicated here, would be about $4,000 a month. However, with that, they have a much better cash flow than they were in the renting model, because you get a lot of the huge benefits that you would if you owned real estate. You get appreciation. You get to leverage a loan to build up your net worth. You get tax benefits. And with that, just by shifting their cash flow from a full rental model into a mobile home, we have families that are living there for 3 years, and because it's appreciated and because they are more financially stable, they can now sell this and have an extra $70,000 to now one day be able to buy a single family home, right? And that's what we're seeing, and that's what we're finding. And it's important people know that this is an option so that they can pretty much start their wealth building journey with their family.
That's really interesting, and it's an interesting what your guys' real estate's crazy expensive. Like
It is, and I know my numbers are very high because we are in the most expensive area in the country. However, I do want to express that these ratios, and we do lobbying throughout the country as well, these ratios are the same. The prices might be different. Like I was just in Atlanta, their median single family home prices are $500,000, and then their rents are about like $1,500, but the mobile homes are typically about $150, and it still acts as a stepping stone for those that, hey, can't yet buy single family, but it acts as a stepping stone, and it works the same way at a smaller scale of numbers.
Yeah, it's expensive. Like even here in Pittsburgh, you're right, because our medium house is probably like $250 to $350, but you can probably get a mobile home for like $50 to $70K. So you're right, it does follow the market. It's an interesting strategy too, because people that are renting, you're right, you get nothing. They don't have to do repairs is one bonus, but they don't get any write-offs, things like that. So the mobile homes is an interesting play. Now, you do this all across the country, right? Or what areas?
Mainly California is where our business operates, but we pretty much advocate for this in the whole country. So we help other entities work in this in other areas.
That's pretty cool. So what would you recommend to somebody? Say someone's renting a house, right? Or renting a apartment or whatever they're renting right now, a couple grand a month. They're like, you know what? This would be cool because then I can own my own place. Number one, like, what do you look at when you're looking at mobile homes? Like, I know when you're buying a house, you're looking at the specific neighborhoods, things like that. Do mobile homes follow the same type of thing?
Yeah. I mean, it's quite fascinating. Like I've lived in the Silicon Valley for 10 plus years until I realized there were mobile home parks around. But I think to answer your question on a family, like what would their first step be? I think the first step is really first understanding what your personal finances look like. Because I think, when I was broke and, I didn't come from a family of money, there was a lot that I didn't understand. And unfortunately, there was also nobody that all of my friends or the people around me don't understand either. But there's not just a wealth gap in our country. There's also a knowledge and information gap. And I think with that, we have to understand that, hey, why is it that when I was broke, all I can focus on, the only thing that we're taught is to focus on our career, go to college, get a good career, that type of thing. But what we don't realize is that the wealthy, yes, they focus on career, but they also focus a lot on the assets they accumulate, their personal cash flow. And that's something that we aren't taught, being middle class, unfortunately. So first is understanding how that works. How do we improve? How do we analyze where our money's going? And then how do we find ways to improve it? And that's the key. And then with that understanding, hey, is this model going to be better for me, even just like 10% better? Then maybe make that move.
Now you're saying too, a lot of people will buy the mobile homes and then you guys build them out, like make them also like a luxury.
Yeah.
What do you do there? Like on a mobile home park, what I would picture is like you have a certain amount of land, right? Like you rent this spot. And then what do? Just go and like do a normal addition like you would do in a house?
So use case number one, I mean, there's a lot of people that live in these mobile home parks already, right? And they still have these 1970 homes. And the thing about these, because they were built in the 70s, it wasn't high density. There wasn't a huge demand for housing in our areas. So what people that are living in mobile homes don't realize, they're actually kind of sitting on a gold mine, because, you're just like as we would analyze a single family home lot that can build an ADU or build out a bigger home, we can do that same strategy within a mobile home park. Hey, Mike and Mary, you guys have a single wide, your kids are growing, you still can't yet buy a single family home, it doesn't justify it, but your single wide is actually sitting on a lot that you have rights to, and we can double the square footage of your lot by converting your old mobile home into a larger one. So with that, their mobile home, the way it stands, is probably worth about 100,000. Now, we design a model so that we manufacture a home for them. We take out their old home. They spend about 250,000. And with that, we take out their old home. We build them a brand new 3-bedroom, 2-bath home. And then now, guess what? Yes, they did spend 250K, but they got to loan it out. But now their new equity, their new home value of a mobile home is about 400,000, right? So with that, it's a win for the client. It's a win for us as a business as well. And it's a win for the park and their neighbors as well, because it beautifies the park. These parks love newer homes, and then neighbors want to do it as well. And it becomes a beautiful system of just being able to have better housing for those that need it.
What's your business model then? Finding people and building the new mobile home? Or do you also flip the mobile homes too? Or what specifically is the model you guys have found successful?
It's fascinating because we don't do any flipping. It's mostly just work for families that already are living in a mobile home, and then they want to convert and upgrade their old one to a new one. So there's a lot of government rules against that. They don't want investors going in to buy mobile homes to rent them out, really, or flipping, right? So I see it as a beautiful thing because it allows the price point to kind of stay where it is and more accessible for families. But with that, our business is kind of 3 parts. We help with, as a brokerage, we help people buy and sell. And then the second is like the construction element. So, hey, construction/developer element. We help families that live in a mobile home that want to upgrade their old one to a new one. And then now we're kind of having a third part where only recently we're helping mobile home park owners that have lots that they want to fill. So, hey, we have 7 to 20 homes that we want to build out, or how can we deploy your system to be able to convert these old ones to new ones? So that's pretty much how we operate. And we, all of our stuff is, we describe our business fully on YouTube and stuff like that. And we help partner with people like in other cities too, to kind of help deploy this. And it's really our mission to kind of show the world how beautiful this is and how it helps society too.
That's pretty interesting. So you do it more. I mean, obviously you got to make money doing it, but you're more doing this too to help people in life be better off.
I believe so. And I think, it's something that I had a reflection on back then. Like I mentioned, my story is I was a real estate agent. I was kind of making good money, but I was not fulfilled. I actually kind of hated my life during that period. Right. And I realized that, hey, money isn't everything. I want to dedicate my life to helping people that were going through that same pain that I went through, right? And if I could just help one family be able to improve their finances for their kids and for their future, that to me is the most fulfilling thing that I can ever receive. That's the best compensation or pay that I can ever get over any commission or profit, right? And just by doing this, I still tear up today when we have one of our team members like have a family that was living squeezed in a room and now bought their first mobile home, and they have tears of joy and happiness because they had several real estate agents tell them that they would never be able to own. And that feeling is just what drives me to want to do more and more and scale this whole thing. And I think with a lot of business owners, it's, there's a lot of people chasing the money out there, but I think my energy is really driven towards like, hey, how do we get more success stories, more families that didn't have a chance and giving them a chance, right? And that's really what drives our team.
That's really cool. And it's impressive too, because especially you are in like the hottest market in the country. Like the real estate is just crazy expensive. And for you to take that shift to be like, okay, there are people, because in that market, there's rich people in all areas. And then there's the normal people. And it's like normal people in that area struggle because it's just so expensive to live. So it's interesting. You were able to shift the model of, okay, let's push real estate as properties into something like this, that you can actually help people be better off while still doing real estate, making money, and helping people become owners. I commend you on that, because a lot of people don't take those shifts.
And it's fascinating too, because, in many ways, the Silicon Valley is kind of like the future of the world, and people see that, but it's also the future problems that many metro areas are going to have too. If we don't analyze how housing problems are today, we're already seeing the same problem happen in areas like Austin or these fast growing areas where the housing disparity is spreading. And the sad part of the world or the country today too is that, hey, it's not getting easier to build housing either. We have population growth, and guess what? Our construction world is kind of screwed. It costs us so much to build a home today. We have material costs that are getting higher and higher, and we can't build homes at scale. And if you look at how we are currently building homes, it really is the future that we need. You know, if you imagine cars were originally built for the rich and wealthy only to be able to use, but it was only until we started building on an assembly line in a streamlined fashion that we made cars accessible for everybody. And that's exactly what we're doing today when it comes to housing. Housing has always been built the same that it was for 100 years, and nothing's changed. But if you see how we're building homes now, we're building these homes in a controlled environment, in a factory on an assembly line, and maximizing the output of every single worker that's working out there. And at the end of the assembly line, having a super affordable, quality built home. And that's how we have to build housing to be able to kind of make that change and make that shift to be able to keep housing affordable for people. I wish you could see how hard these people work and the factories themselves. So, but it's quite an amazing thing.
That's pretty cool. Now, what would you say to, like, is this something that, say, in different cities, investors like can get involved with this? Like, what would you say to an investor that's currently investing in real estate and they're like, you know what, this sounds like something I want to do? How hard is it to get into this model and start doing this?
I think one of the big things that a lot of investors are getting into lately is the mobile home park acquisitions. So people not realizing that these mobile home parks are something of high value that have always been ignored. And then a mix with that, and it's something that we do as well, is like we help investors be able to get a park and understand the value of the park and how do we value add to make it worth more as well, right? So there's a lot of these mobile home parks that unfortunately are very trailer-like or have a ton of old homes, but how do we, we see a lot of investors and even hedge funds buying a park, value adding, converting old ones to new ones, beautifying the park, and then realizing that they can refinance it, sell it for more, whatever it is their strategy is at that time. But a lot of investors are getting into that, and it's more than an hour conversation.
Yeah, I'm with you. And I have heard mobile home parks being more popular, like people buying the whole park.
Exactly. Yeah. You can do that in many ways, and you can do it with co-ops. You don't have to, there's plenty of co-ops you can be a part of as well, just to get the experience and your feet wet with it. But yeah, that's something that if you're on the investor side, that's something that's a big way to get into it.
Now, you said you talk about a lot of this stuff on your YouTube channel. What all do you, well, number one, how do people find your YouTube channel?
Yeah. All of our links, our Instagram and that type of thing is on www.franco.tv. There you'll see the 3D tours of the beautiful homes that we build, 12-foot high ceilings, quartz countertop, beautiful homes. And then you'll also see our YouTube channel of the behind the scenes inside the factories of how they're able to use huge cranes in these factories and really optimize how we do construction. And it's really fascinating. And I think for those that, are listening on the podcast, I know we're talking about it. I think I urge you to kind of see visually, because the way we build these homes are so beautiful and you'll be shocked. Everyone that sees these are shocked as well. That's why we did a big focus on our YouTube channel, is because I was telling people all the time, but until they see it, they're like, oh, shoot, this is beautiful. Like, you can't believe it till you see it. But yeah, all of our stuff is there. And we also have educational pieces. We have stories where it's like a teacher that wasn't able to afford in this area, but because we helped them get a mobile home, now they're financially secure and that type of thing. So I'm proud of our team for building that out. But that's how you can find us.
That's pretty solid. And everyone, we'll have that link in the show notes too. Hey, Franco, what's a top book you'd recommend to people?
Oh man, it depends. One that I really do love is Lean Startup. If you're into business and if you're into business, it's not a very popular book actually, but in the startup world, it is. And it teaches you to bootstrap, to stay lean, and to create an impact and create value with less resources. I think that's a book that's kind of shaped my life personally. So if you haven't read it, I definitely urge it to.
That's cool, man. Hey, I appreciate you coming on. We appreciate you, man.
Dude, appreciate you too. And love that you're sharing stuff like this. So thanks for doing that.
Good stuff. Hey, everyone, thanks for listening. Until next time, get out there, crush it, close some deals. We'll see you guys.